Welcome to Toronto Ball Talk, where we talk about NBA and all things Raptor related. So I thought this was a perfect time to start the show. It's the All-Star weekend, the All-Star break halfway through the season. So I'm gonna go through the All-Star weekend first, and then we'll touch on a little bit of Raptors ball. So first off, Friday night was the Celebrity All-Star game, which was absolute trash. Not worth watching at all. But one good thing was they had a new wrinkle in the game, which was a 4-point line. They called it the Ruffles 4-point line, which is actually a pretty good idea in my opinion for something like an all-star game where you want to try some new stuff. But the game in general was absolute trash. Luckily, the night was saved by the rookie-sophomore game. So the idea of that is first year and second year players battle it out, and the format was World versus the USA. So the first topic and the first elephant in the room was that Trae Young and Luka Doncic were both on this roster, which for me makes no sense because these two guys were also in the All-Star game. So like the rookie game, the All-Star game, or the rising stars. Are they rising stars or are they All-Stars? And for me, I thought that's two spots that you could have given to somebody else, you know, that deserved the spot to be in that spotlight as a rising star as opposed to a star. So that brings me to Terrance Davis. Now, being a Raptors fan, my homer pick for an additional member into that squad would have, of course, been Terrance Davis because he's been great. An undrafted rookie out of nowhere. Like, he's the definition of a rising star, if you ask me. So unfortunately, he wasn't picked. The way the format worked out, it's World versus USA. If he was from another country, his stats indicate that he would have been selected for the team, but because the US team was pretty stacked, he just didn't make the cut. So something to think about. I mean, hey, we can adopt him as a fellow Canadian. I'd give him a passport just so he can make the team next year, but he probably will next year as a sophomore. He'll likely make the team. He'll have a bigger impact on the Raptors, and people will start noticing. But I thought that was a bit of a slap in the face to a guy who's contributing to a championship team. You know, it's not useless minutes on a shitty team that you know, is going nowhere, and anybody can do that as a rookie. But that is, you know, that is what it is. And the game itself was actually pretty good. The jerseys were pretty nice. The play was pretty nice. So that saved Friday night for me. And then we worked our way to Saturday, which is kind of the main draw, I think, because it's the three competitions, the skill competitions. You started off with the Taco Bell Skills Challenge, which had some Raptors content in it. Pascale Siakam, he started off by beating Patrick Beverley in the skills competition, which everybody thought, you know, Patrick Beverley was going to take it, and he took him out right away. So P Skills represented the Raptors well, but ultimately he lost to Bam Adebayo, who ended up winning the whole thing. But that was a good start to the event in general because it got the juices flowing for the three-point competition, which was actually pretty lights out. The first couple of guys who started shooting, not so good. But as it got to the more serious shooters like Devin Booker, Buddy Hield, these guys were absolutely lights out. The shot was wet right from the get-go, and I think they scored like 26, 27 points on the first round, which was awesome. So what I really liked about this new format was they added 2 three-point shots. So they added these Mountain Dew balls, which were like super far back, like Trae Young, Steph Curry type shots, which actually worked out good for some shooters and got these guys 26, 27 points, which is kind of unheard of in a three-point competition. You're doing really good if you're at 22, 23. Anyways, it turned out to be great, and it went down to the last shot. Buddy Hield hit a money ball to score 27 points, push him past Devin Booker, who had 26. So, you know, the night was rolling. It was good vibes rolling into everyone's favorite event, mine for sure, the slam dunk competition. And after the first couple of dunks, and we got the trash dunkers out of the way, like Pat Connaughton and Dwight Howard, we got down to some serious business, which was Aaron Gordon and Derrick Jones Jr. of the Miami Heat. Now, what's crazy about this whole thing is that before the All-Star game even started, they were showing how the last All-Star game in Chicago, 1988, there was this big controversy because the dunk competition between Dominique Wilkins and Michael Jordan just had these two prolific dunkers. But basically, a lot of people felt like Dominique Wilkins got screwed and that MJ shouldn't have won that dunk competition. So skip ahead 22 years, and sure enough, history repeats itself. It was this crazy dunk competition. Phenomenal dunks by both guys. My favorite dunk of the whole night was this one-handed like 360 by Aaron Gordon where he just spun and threw it down. It just looked so beautiful. Both of these guys were amazing, but the thing was they kept getting 50s, they kept getting 50s. It was a tie. And then eventually the judges just kind of balked. And on the last dunk, where both of them were really high scores, Aaron Gordon's especially, was a 50. He jumped over a guy 7'6", and they gave him like a 47. And it just ended on such a sour note. It was such a crappy way to end, it was a really great night, except for that ending where you sort of started to feel bad for this guy, Aaron Gordon. It's the second time he lost the dunk competition. He lost one to Zach LaVine, if you remember, and now again to this guy from Miami. So it kind of put a damper on the night for me, but overall, like I said, amazing All-Star Saturday night for me. And then came the game. Sunday night's game, which featured all the big names, Team Giannis versus Team LeBron, had some rule changes as well where they played per quarter. So whoever won the quarter won $100,000 for their charity. I thought that worked out amazing. And then the last quarter where they accumulated all the points, what they did in order to honor Kobe Bryant was tack on 24 points to the leading team score and say, okay, this is what the cutoff line is. So it was 157 points. And it worked out really well. There was no time. It was like whoever's gonna get to 157 is the winner. And Team LeBron was down like 9 points. So they actually came back and ended up winning the game. But what was really cool in terms of being a Raptor fan was there was a lot of good Raptor content. Siakam had a pretty good game, but Lowry by far had his best All-Star game. Usually Lowry disappears in an All-Star game. You rarely see him. But this game being as intense as it was, they actually cared this time. They were playing defense. He took 3 charges. I mean, he got 2 calls, but he took 3 charges, and he was key, instrumental in them having a chance to win the game. Now, in typical Lowry fashion, he also ended up fouling to give the final free throw to Anthony Davis, which, you know, essentially sealed the game for Team LeBron, but whatever, who cares? It's an All-Star game, you know what I mean? Like, I was thoroughly entertained, and it was just an overall great All-Star weekend. So as a Raptor fan, I was satisfied. As an NBA fan, I was satisfied, and I can't wait. I think they should definitely keep that format and you know, keep being innovative moving forward, because the All-Star weekend is something that NBA heads like myself look forward to. All right, so now it's time to get into the Raptor-related content, personally my favorite. I am a Raptors fan, obviously, since '95. I've been there. Season ticket holder back in the day, but now I'm an old man, whatever. I got kids and stuff, so I usually watch from the comfort of my sofa. But this year in general, I'm gonna start off by talking about the first half of the season, since we're here at the All-Star break. The Raptors went into the season losing Kawhi, losing Danny Green, coming off a championship season, which was absolutely amazing. But the expectations were that the Raptors were going to be okay. A lot of people actually thought they were going to fall off a cliff. This was the American media by far, because if you asked any Torontonian, they tell you that, of course, the Raptors are going to be good. We've always been good. For the last 10 years, we have that track record. But I personally, I mean, I'm a homer, like I said, so I never imagined they would fall off a cliff. That being said, did I imagine that at this point in the season they would have the 3rd best record in the NBA? No. They've just been beyond expectations. There have been lots of reasons why that happens. I mean, Terrance Davis, going back to Terrance Davis, so we get this guy out of nowhere who's contributing, and I anticipate that he'll continue to contribute to the success of the Raptors. We have, of course, the ascension of Pascale Siakam to All-Star status. We have Norm God playing like Norm God. He's giving us consistent effort every night. The 3-point shot is wet. And then you got all your role players. I mean, Lowry is Lowry, and Serge Ibaka is having the best, his best season as a Raptor. So things have been going absolutely perfect, except for the fact that they keep getting injured. So taking all that into account, The Raptors have performed exceptionally well. Right now they've got 40 wins at the break, which is fantastic. And they're gonna go into the playoffs healthy and hot. And hey, you know what? I think they have a chance. So let's get into that second half of the season. Here we are at the All-Star break. We just came off a 15-game win streak that was snapped by the Brooklyn Nets, but let's be honest, the Raptors snapped their own streak. I mean, they were thinking about the All-Star break. They were thinking about having that week off. It didn't really matter. One game, who cares? The point is they're on fire. The chemistry is great. And to be honest, in the East, I don't think there's a better team than the Raptors. Who's got the chemistry that the Raptors have? Who has that championship experience like the Raptors have? Nobody. I mean, the Bucks are clearly, on paper, the best team in the NBA, the best record. They'll probably exceed any expectations that even they had as a championship contender. But when it comes down to the playoffs, I mean, they got one superstar and we have a bunch of guys who can contribute. So you put me in a series against any of these teams in the East, and I think we got a shot, to be honest. First round, we're likely to play Orlando, Brooklyn, Indiana, one of those teams. So we should get past the first round fairly easily. Then we meet up with a bit of a more worthy opponent, a Sixers, maybe the Heat, Boston, and then ultimately we're gonna play the Bucks in the finals. I mean, that's what I think. And then, it comes down to team chemistry and coaching, and we've got a great coach. We've got great, well-rounded players. We play defense. I think we got this. So if we get to the finals, hey man, all you really need to do is get to the finals. You can't meet that girl, you can't bag that girl unless you go to the party, and you gotta get to the party. And if the Raptors are there, then they got a chance, just like last year. I mean, to be honest, when they went in to play the Golden State Warriors, I wasn't sure they could win, but I was happy they were there, and things worked out well, right? The injuries started happening and the Raptors took advantage of the situation. So why not again this year? I think it's possible. Can they beat the LA teams? Can they beat LeBron? Can they beat Kawhi? I don't know, but I give them a chance, and I'm excited to see it happen. So those are my predictions for the second half of the season, and that's the recap for the first and second half of the season. It's going to be a good one. It starts again tonight. The Raptors pick up where they left off against the Phoenix Suns. And like I said, I anticipate that the ball is going to keep on rolling and the momentum will be in the Raptors' favor. And hey, man, we're going to do big things. 2019, 2020 could be the year the Raptors repeat. So we'll see. So keep watching, and we'll keep talking Raptors and NBA in general. See you next time.